All right, let's do it. Let's go live. How's everybody? All good? Welcome to another Sunday show. I'm Tony. This is Addicted to Gear. If you're new, welcome. If you're not new, welcome back. Today I'm going to be talking about a lot of stuff related to what's happening in the music industry, some gear, some questions from the viewers, all that good stuff that hopefully you've come accustomed to on the Sunday show. So, welcome everybody. I don't know if you guys can hear me okay. I hope you can. Hope the volumes are good, and welcome to everybody that is here today. If you've been lurking in the waiting room while before the show got started, you probably asked some questions. So I'm gonna just scroll back and take a look and say hi to the people that are already here. I like to know who I'm talking to whenever I have these live shows. By the way, you'll notice that I brought back the little Addicted to Gear message here. I was losing track of the number of shows we were doing, so I had to count back because I stopped using this for a while. And then I like, how many shows are we doing now? What show is this? I didn't even remember. So I brought it back and I counted the shows. We're at 271 if everything is correct with my counting. So now you guys know which episode you're watching. If ever you go back and watch the older ones, there's another 270 that you can enjoy. So let's see here. We got Gene in the house. Gene's grabbing his coffee and all the good stuff this morning. And Cushman is here as well. Jack is here. And Dan is in the house as well. Good morning, Dan. We also have Rexomatic. And Rex says, I like it when guitar companies include a guitar strap. Even retro lightweight straps are okay. I mean, yeah, I agree with you, Rex. You know, why not add a little bit more, a little extra in the box? Always makes us feel good. Sometimes they're really garbage, though. Sometimes. You don't usually get like super high quality straps or super high quality anything in thrown in with gear, even tuners. You know, like sometimes they throw in tuners and stuff like that. They're usually not that great, but you know, it's good in an emergency as a backup. I agree. Let me take a sip of water. So, yeah, the only really speaking of straps, the only really good set of straps I got for my guitars were these really, really high quality leather straps that were made in Italy. They smelled great because they were real leather. They weren't like pleather or simulated leather, real leather. I can't find them. I had two and they disappeared. I don't know where I put them. They're probably in a case somewhere. But usually I just throw all my straps on my stand behind me, just behind me there. I don't know if you can see, but on this side, there's a whole bunch of straps just behind that guitar here. Can't really see it, but they're all there. There's like a mountain of straps back there. I like to have different ones for different things, different types of guitars. They're not all the same. Sometimes you want to go with a thin one. Sometimes, you know, you're playing a heavier guitar. A wider strap sometimes is better. But yeah, so the answer is yes. I like it when guitar companies throw in some stuff. Gene says, has anyone ever gotten any mileage out of the free cord you get with any new guitar purchase? I guess you mean the jacks, right? The guitar jacks. Yes and no. Some are garbage, like the ones that are molded, that have the ends that are more molded. They don't have like the, how can I put it? Like if I show you this guy, see this guy has the metal end. Sometimes you get straps that have like a molded end. Those are usually not that good because when they break, you can't really fix them. And sometimes the actual cord itself, the actual cable, they don't use really good quality cable. Sometimes it's not shielded great. Again, good for a backup, or you give it to your kids or whatever. So those are not that great, but sometimes you get some, half decent ones. All right, so where was I? Rex says, good morning from Phoenix. Good morning, Rex. Enjoyed your wireless video. We are featuring an amazing Yamaha acoustic guitar on our next video. I'm going to check that out, dude. All right, cool. I'd like to see that. I'll jump in for sure. Vinny is here. Hey, Vinny. Shane Walton says, Rush. Yes, Shane. That is what the internet is just lighting up about. Rush. Everywhere you turn, it seems like everybody's talking about it. We'll talk about it too. I mean, why not? We might as well, right? We'll jump into that in a minute. Vinny's World says, Gene, no, in fact, I tend to throw them out almost immediately. I used to keep them for backup and realize how much space they're taking when I moved. If you have a lot of guitars, excuse me, yeah, they probably would take a lot of space. But you know what? As soon as you throw one out, what ends up happening, Vinny, you need it, right? But that's my hoarder side talking now. D. Smith says, morning all, the sub 60 Fahrenheit has begun in the northeastern US. It's inevitable. It's going to happen, man. It's getting cold here too. The mornings are starting to dip down. I don't want to talk about it. Let's talk about something else. Hey, David, what's happening? Nice to see you, man. Thank you for joining. It's me, Dom P is here. David says, what upgrade should guitar maker offer instead of their free patch cables? Yeah, it's a good question, David. I mean, the patch cables are something that everybody, I guess, needs, because if you don't have a cable, you can't really play your guitar, right? So that would make maybe strings, but like a decent set of strings. That would be good. Because, strings don't last that long and they're getting expensive. They're about the same price as a cable, maybe a little less, depending on what kind of cable they throw in. So yeah, I'd say strings. Throw in a nice set of strings. That's my vote. Guys, I'm going to remind you from the get-go, if you don't mind giving me a thumbs up. We got 30 people here already. Around half of them give me a thumbs up. Would appreciate if we can, just get those numbers equal. That would be great. Let's see, who else is here? I'm just jumping around. So Mark is here. Hey, Mark. No new gear for me this week. Lots of gigs, though. Well, I guess you're getting mileage out of the gear that you already have, so that's good. And Shane says, new guitar day. Green Fernandez Z03 travel guitar. Congrats. I'm not familiar with the travel guitar versions of the Fernandez guitars, Shane. A friend of mine used to have one that was kind of like a Strat knockoff back in the day. But I don't know about the travel guitars, so be interesting to take a look at that. So guys, if you have any questions this week, don't be shy. Ask away. You know what to do. Put the little question mark ahead of your question. If you're new and you're trying to chat and you can't, it's because you're not subscribed. Please subscribe and you'll be able to chat and jump right in. Warheart says, guess what? I ordered the wrong pots again. What pots are you trying to get? Where did you order them from? What ended up happening? You get like 250 instead of 500 or something like that? What's going on with that? Give us the details. Give us the juicy details. Don't leave us hanging there. Danielle says, hi, playing my Eastman Frank Vignola model guitar this morning, the FV680CE. I love the Eastman guitars. Yeah, I gotta break mine out soon and start playing that one. Haven't played that one in a while. Haven't played this one in a while, actually too. I saw that you guys are no longer guessing or trying to guess which guitar I'm going to be playing during the show. It's too bad because I enjoy watching you guys try to guess. This is my my Strat, and I was playing this one earlier, the Franken Strat, and that one has a humbucker. This one has single coils, and I just took this one out. I'm playing this really tiny pick today, which I'm not that comfortable with right now. This is a Dunlop jazz pick, and lately I've been playing fatter picks, so I think I'm going to grab another one. I get too much finger meat when I play those thin ones nowadays. Maybe I'll just grab a little bit thicker one. This one's always good. I got this one, which is it's interesting. It's a little bit bigger, not much bigger. Actually, it's almost the same size, is it? Let me see this. Yeah, it's pretty much the same size. I'm lying to you. It's almost the same size. See? Except one is really thick and the other one isn't. So I don't know if you can see that. I don't know if you can see the thickness difference, but this one's like almost double the thickness of the... This one's made out of some kind of horn material. And it has a much more of an immediate attack, whereas the nylon one is a little bit more mellow. That doesn't sound the same. I know we're splitting hairs, but I hear it. Shane says, I prefer to get a gig bag instead of a strap, but my latest ESP came with a strap. The gig bags are almost going away too. Like, you know, it's funny that you mentioned that, Shane, because, you know, in the old days, you would buy a guitar, you would get a case. Then they stopped giving you cases. Then they threw in gig bags. And now, like, even gig bags, sometimes they throw them in, sometimes you got to buy them. I don't know. They're getting cheap. Shrinkflation is hitting the guitar market too, I guess. Morning, Presley. What's happening, dude? Warheart says wrong size. Okay, so it's not the wrong value, just the wrong size. Like the diameter, I can't speak. The diameter of the shaft. Is that what you mean by wrong size, or the length of the shaft? Vinny says the ones that come with Gibsons are decent. Do you mean the gig bags? Gene says a Leo Jams kit I purchased had a nice strap with a strap lock on it. Very cool. That's nice. That's a nice perk. You don't usually get those that often. Thanks, Shane. Thanks for reminding everybody to hit the like button. I appreciate that, dude. Oh, by the way, before people disappear, we did, I did ask people to make a video, and you would win a chance if you were selected to be on the show as a guest. And a couple of you did. I didn't see many, okay? I only saw one or two. So if you made one and I didn't see it, let me know. But I know that Shane made one, our own Shane Walton right here. And also David made one. And I almost missed that one, David. But then you mentioned it at the end of one of my live shows, and I went back and I watched it. So I appreciate you guys for doing that, for taking the time. So you guys are automatically in. We're going to have you on the show, both of you guys. And we're going to pick a date. I think we're going to do it not next week, but I think we're going to try and aim for the 26th, Sunday the 26th. I think that's a good day. So if you guys are ready and willing, I'll send you the details. We'll find a time. It might not be in the morning though, guys. I'm just warning everyone else, because depending on where our guests are located. It might be kind of late or too early, whatever. We'll try and find a time that works for everyone. Maybe it'll be later in the afternoon, maybe it'll be in the morning, at night, we'll see. But I'm excited to have you guys on. So mark it on your calendars, guys. And we'll try and make that happen, okay? Congrats. I appreciate your efforts. David says I need to get a mic. No worries, David. Whatever it is, it is. We'll make it work, man. No stress. Vinny's World says, how do I know if you saw it? I made one a while back. Vinny, you got to tell me, man. You got to tell me. If you made one, put the link or email me the link, or I don't know, man. You got to let me know. I'm going to write it down and I'm going to try to look for it. As I mentioned, it was a thing I asked for you guys to put hashtags in your video so that I can find it easier. Okay. But if you can send me the link, even better. And if you got one, you're in too, man. I think we can bring a few people on. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Vinny, if you told me, I apologize. I may have forgotten. I get distracted by shiny things sometimes. So I'm gonna take a look again, okay? And if you got it, I'll definitely invite you for the show as well. And I appreciate you guys. So it's gonna be fun. I think it'll be cool. It's the first time I do that on this show, and I think it'll be good. It'll be good conversations. Get ready to talk about gear, guys. Presley says, I'd rather guitar companies put Allen wrench holders for the truss rod and saddles on the back of the headstock, like in the 80s. Skip the free strap. Yeah, it's true. They kind of tend to get lost all the time. I agree with you on that, Presley. I'm always searching for mine. I keep mine in a little, pill plasticky bottle like this, so I know more or less where they are, but they're never within arm's reach. I gotta go to the workbench and get them and stuff like that. So Daniel said, during the COVID shutdown, I participated in a group where we submitted videos. I was amazed how well things went, just recording videos and sound with a cell phone. Yeah, I've seen some people do that. And I tried to do that with my bandmates during COVID. I remember we tried to do like a Teams jam session. That didn't work out. The delay, because when you're recording a video, what you're seeing always is delayed on the other side. So when it comes to music and jamming, you can't get the timing right. But it's an interesting idea. Vinny's World says, I think it's because Addicted to Gear is used for a lot of things. Well, maybe. If you have it on your channel, Vinny, I'll just search Vinny's World after the show. And if it's still there, I should be able to see it. So if you did it, consider yourself invited, okay? And I got you written down here. I won't forget you, man. Hey, Paul, what's happening? Paul says, a bit late, super busy. Tell me about it, Paul. It seems like there's no free time left anywhere. Just trying to find time to make videos, do reviews, and practice and all that kind of stuff. And with everything else, it's always like rush, man. I hear you, dude. Shane Walton says, I want to see all of Paul's pedals. Well, Paul didn't submit a video. Did you, Paul? We were just talking about having some guests on the show. If you submitted a video, you could be on the show too, and we can check out all your pedals. Let us know. MFN says, hi, Tony and all. Sorry I'm late. No problem, dude. It's better late than never. Appreciate you guys making time. Richard is here, and Richard says, got a new Ventera road-worn Telecaster a couple of weeks ago. Loving it so far. I was meaning to check out some of those Ventera guitars, Richard, and I never got an opportunity to do so. Let me know what you like about them and how good they are. They look like they're really nice. The ones that I saw, I had an itch for one of those a while ago. I didn't pull the trigger because I already have quite a few Telecasters, and some of them I made myself. Some of them are, road worn as well. The little red one here. I don't know if you can see it right there. This guy. That's a road worn Telecaster as well. And I'm a big fan of the feel of the road worn guitars. Casey says, I ordered the Valaton GP5 from Amazon during Prime Days for $65. I got it last night. Gonna open it today. I'll let you know how it goes. Yeah, I did a review of that, Casey. I don't know if you got one because of my review or not, but I like it. And for $65, man, you can't go wrong. I'm losing my voice, guys. I don't know. It's been a while, a few weeks. Every time I start talking, my voice gets hoarse. I don't know. I think I need a Ricola or something. I don't know why that's happening, but it is. Shane says, Trump terrorists have ruined the guitar market. Tell me about it, Shane. Yeah, a lot of things, man. A lot of things. Hopefully when things get back to normal, if they ever do, maybe we'll be able to enjoy lower priced guitars again. Are you affected, Shane, where you are? Since you're in Japan, like you're seeing it there too? I guess you're going to have to just buy Japanese versions, man. Richard says, the Ventera plays really well. Great tone. The back of the neck was a bit sticky at first from the nitro, but soon wore smooth. Okay, so even though it is like a road-worn version, they didn't sand back the neck. There was actually some nitro on it. Yeah, I like my necks to be sanded down. Like this one here, you can see there's not much left, and I like that feel. Yeah. Shane says food prices are sky high. Yeah, man, it's getting so we can't even eat anymore, right? I guess Japan imports a lot of food from the US, as does everyone else, I guess. Here in Canada, the food prices, I mean, they did go up during COVID. They didn't really come down all that much. We saw less gouging, but I don't think they really budged all that much after the tariffs. I think we're pretty self-sustainable when it comes to food. We got plenty of cattle and chickens and eggs and milk and all that kind of stuff, so it didn't really affect us that much. Richard says the Relic King is very subtle, just slightly checked on the body and headstock. The wear on the maple neck looks good. Yeah, I don't like Relic King that's too aggressive. For me, it's really just the feel of the neck mostly. I like sanded down necks, and the relics have that already. Otherwise, I'll do it myself. I'll just get one of those green Scotch pads, whatever you call them, and just sand off the finish on the back of the neck, and usually that'll take care of it. Makes it feel really good. Paul says, police visit last night. My neighbor's son out of mental hospital. He phoned 911 4 times with false info, got off with a warning. The guy's dangerous. Man, Paul, you mentioned that a couple of weeks back you were having issues in your area as well. So it hasn't resolved itself, has it? It's really sad and scary at the same time when somebody's son, it could be anyone's son really, daughter, son, kid, father, whatever, has some kind of mental issues. And yeah, it's like, people don't know what to do in a situation like that. Even the cops don't really know what to do to be able to resolve that. And the systems usually suck, right? Even if they go to the hospital and stuff like that, they usually don't keep them there, and they're released shortly after. And if they're on drugs or some other, have some other issues, they're just back on the street in a matter of hours. They don't really get the help they need. So yeah, it's kind of sad. Davis Music says, I live right on the border with BC, Canada, and have always ordered from Canada, and now they can't afford to ship to me. Yeah, because David, the issue there is the minimus clause is gone, right? Trump took that away. So basically, anything under, I think it was 800 and lower, would be able to get across the border, no problem, no like extra tariffs. Now that that's gone, everything is being tariffed. And if you ever try to ship anything inside of into Canada or outside of Canada, it's a nightmare because you need all kinds of paperwork now because they want to know exactly where every piece of like what you're shipping is made, and if there's something in there that falls into the sort of the tariff clauses, then it'll get stopped. Otherwise, if you don't, if you don't mention it, you could be tariffed, I think, up to 200% as a penalty for doing that. So a lot of people don't understand it. They don't want to bother with it. They just simply don't ship anymore. So it's going to be a while. David says between Calgary and Winnipeg, it's pretty much just wheat. Yeah. Wayne says you can thank your orange man for that, Davis. Orange man. Rex has a good question here, and it's guitar related, not Trump or tariff related. So we're going to answer that one first. Do you feel like your buying of guitars has fallen off a bit in 2025? I feel like I'm buying less. It has. It definitely has, Rex. And it's not because of the tariffs, because I don't usually buy new anyways. It's rare. It's very rare that I buy a new guitar. I don't like to pay extra for new guitars, and prices have gone up. The reason why I think my purchasing of guitars has dropped is just because I'm pretty much satiated with what I have right now. I'm not really tempted for anything new. The last one that I was tempted by was the red one there. This guy, the Charvel. That was the last spur of the moment spontaneous purchase that I made, which I wasn't planning on doing. So ever since then, I haven't really purchased another guitar. I'm not saying I'm not gonna, but for right now, I got plenty of toys to play with. So, Vinny's asking, is Canada Post still delayed? Yeah, they're on strike. They are, Vinny. So I can't wait to get that tidal wave of bills come in once it's resolved. You know what? I don't really mind the strike because of that. Because, these days, nobody writes letters anymore, sends you postcards or anything like that. It's just bad news when you go to your mailbox and open it up and it's just taxes and bills. And, I'm happy to see my mailbox empty. D. Smith says, I bought a CCTV camera from eBay. Canada cost half as much for customs as the item itself. It's a suckfest. Look, man, I don't know what to tell you. Trump is trying to kill any type of cross-border buying and selling. Well, he did it. So it is what it is, man. Steven says, I had a guy just out of the psych ward, HP on my Harley while I was visiting a friend. Cops saw his dad fighting to get him off of it. He said God told him he could take it for a ride. Really? Okay. How did you react, Steven? Not a pleasant surprise. Yeah, hopped on. I got it, Steven. I'm sure that Harley is your prized possession, so I'm sure you weren't happy about that. JP says, "What? No new guitar in sight? You should see a doctor, Tony." Yeah, man. Give me the news. I got a bad case. Jean-Pierre, to answer your question this morning, Jean-Pierre and I were having a little text discussion about Rick Beato's old video. I think he did it a while ago, where he listed the top Led Zeppelin or Jimmy Page riffs. And Jean-Pierre mentioned or asked me, he's like, what do I think about the list? But he left out two very important ones, man. I don't know if you caught it, but in there he missed two. There should have been the beginning, well, the Lemon Song. The Lemon Song wasn't in there. And the part right after the harmonica section in Bring It On Home, 143, he didn't play that one either. Those to me are like some of the most... That to me is one of my favorite Jimmy Page licks. He didn't play that one. And he also didn't play the... He didn't play that one either. And that's also one of my favorites as well. So this is why I said I didn't agree with his list, because he played all the common ones, all the regular ones, but not that one. Wayne says Rick's interview with Bumblefoot was awesome. I didn't see that one yet. I saw it being listed and I wanted to watch it, but I didn't see it yet. It's on my list. I'm going to watch that one for sure. I'm just looking at your questions here. Rex says, I think I purchased 2 guitars this year, a Hillis, Headless, and a Gretsch. Every time I consider a new guitar, I think of all the wonderful guitars I have and want to spend more time with them. Yeah, man. This is how I feel too. Like I haven't, there's no way I'm going to wear out one of my guitars, because the wear on my guitars is spread too thin. You play, 5 minutes on this guitar, 5 minutes on that guitar, you're never going to wear them out. So definitely spend more time with the guitars you already have. And as a matter of fact, I'm considering, and I've said it before, just liquidating some of the lower end guitars that I have that I don't really play much anymore. And I just don't have time to actually even list them. In My Time of Dying is another good one. Yeah, I like that one, Shane. JP says, problem is he's got too many riffs, man. Jimmy Page is a riff machine, man. This is why I love his playing. I should do that, Shane, but it's going to be a lot of the same ones that Rick played. I mean, how many Led Zeppelin riffs can you play? At the end of the day. At the end, they're all kind of... At the end, they're all the same, right? They're all kind of the same, right? But maybe I will. Maybe I will, Shane. I don't know. D says, do you label your trem bars in the storage box? I tend to never use mine, and of course, they are not universal. Floyd, Ibanez, PRS, ESP, Fender. It's like trying to find the right key sometimes. It's true. I don't label them. I should. I usually just like tie them together and put them in a box. I can usually tell though which one belongs to which. Like the ones from this guitar, the road worn one, the actual metal is worn as well, so I know which one that is. Sometimes, like for example, if it's a Charvel arm, usually doesn't have the little rubber plastic piece at the tip. It's just metal. The ones that belong to the Floyd always have the little screw-in little adapter, so I can tell. You know, I'm quite familiar with which one belongs to which. Davis says Rush has a new drummer. Indeed, indeed, Davis. This is something I mentioned at the beginning of the show. Everybody's talking about it. I mean, I did a video on that. If you guys want to look at that video, I was asking for your opinion on that, and that's kind of ties into the poll question that we have today, because I was curious to know, like, if you're a Rush fan. Like, I consider myself a Rush fan. I'm not like I'm not. Rush is a very, very good band that I really do appreciate. Back in high school, I had friends that were really die-hard Rush fans, and we would always joke around because I was more in the Led Zeppelin and Van Halen camp, and I would, you know how it is when you're in high school, you make fun of your friends that don't appreciate the same bands you like, make fun of their band because your band's better than my band, that kind of thing. But over the years, I've really come to appreciate Rush. I've been to their concerts, and I love them. I think they're great. Obviously one of the best Canadian bands out there. And of course, the internet is ablaze with just videos and articles and all kinds of information about them getting back together. Now, personally, I love the fact that they're getting back together. I mean, honestly, when back in the day when I heard that they were splitting up, and we learned that Neil Peart was ill, that seemed like the end, man. It was like the end of the chapter. It's done. They did what they had to do. They were getting to the age where retirement was there. Was time. So I figured that was it. There wouldn't be any other Rush shows, or that was the end of Rush. I'm glad I'm wrong, because now they're getting back together, and I do appreciate the fact that Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson mentioned in some videos that they just miss playing, and I understand that. Like, you get to an age. Could you imagine, like, you've been in a rock band, a very substantial rock band, for your entire life, basically from when they were teenagers, playing with the same guys and trying to navigate fame and all that kind of stuff, and now all of a sudden it's the end. You're going home and you're alone, and you put on your slippers and you sit by the fireplace, and what do you do all day long? Well, I'm sure these guys still play music. I'm sure these guys still want to play music. It's kind of hard just to stop like that. So getting back together, I think, is the natural thing, right? And as they get older, issues pop up, health, and just being able to survive out on the road. It's hard to be out on the road and playing gigs every night. And as you get older, like 9 o'clock comes around, and you're like, oh, it's bedtime now. And you're playing stadiums and all that kind of stuff. So I think they have it under control. I think they've probably figured out their comfort zone. And now, of course, the big thing, the big news, is the new drummer, and who's going to replace Neil. And it's almost like, picture it this way, okay? Rush is a drum band. People, I'm going to say, like, if you're watching Rush, the majority of you out in the audience, you're probably a musician, first of all. And I'm going to say, like, more than 50%, just to be on the safe side, probably way more than 50%, are there to see Neil. Because, he's a fantastic drummer. He was a fantastic drummer. So now it's almost like, think of it this way, like if I put myself in the shoes of a Rush fan, it's almost like saying, okay, well, Eddie passed away. Van Halen's going to continue. We're just going to replace Eddie. It's very hard to do. And there's a lot of emotion associated with that particular player. Like, Neil was loved by many people. He was respected. He was down to earth. His head never got big with fame. He always kind of shunned the spotlight and all that kind of stuff. Didn't do many interviews and all that kind of stuff. So now finding the right drummer to replace him, that's a big challenge. And of course, when they announced who the drummer would be, I didn't know who she was. I'm going to be very honest. Although she was, after learning more about her, and I'm talking about Anneke Nilles, I believe it's Nilles. All I know is that she's 42 years old. She's from Germany, and she made a lot of YouTube content out there. And she's played with some very notable musicians, including Jeff Beck. And we know that Jeff Beck doesn't pick any kind of slouches for his backup musicians. So, if Jeff Beck thought she deserved to be in his band, that she kind of passed the acid test with Jeff. But even at that, I didn't know who she was. Like, I didn't hear, even when she was playing with Jeff Beck, she was not a household name to me. But now things have changed. All of a sudden, everybody's talking about it. I don't know why. I mean, Jeff Beck's popular, I would say just as popular as Rush. But it seems like people were not paying attention. Now they are. Because now she's thrown in the spotlight. She's not just a backup drummer for Jeff. She's replacing Neil. That's a whole different thing. So people are paying attention. And I wouldn't want to be her, man. Ooh, I could only imagine the stress right now. She's probably freaking out. And maybe in a good way. Maybe she can handle it. And I'm sure she's going to do fantastic. I'm sure she's going to fit right in. And they also mentioned along the way that there would be a couple of extra musicians on the shows. There's going to be a keyboard player. So Geddy Lee doesn't necessarily have to play keyboards all the time. And there might even be an extra guitarist. I'm not really sure. So they're kind of like, putting themselves in the comfort zone. So it's not all 100% on them. But I'm sure they're going to do fantastically well. I'm sure it's going to sound great. And I think people are going to be very happy to see them on stage again, minus the cost of the tickets, because I think the tickets are going to be super expensive. I could only imagine. But I think people would be willing to pay for it. Now, the other thing is that Montreal is not on the list. They've been adding shows and venues, and Toronto's on the list. Montreal's not on the list. I don't understand. Please don't tell me they're skipping Montreal. That would be a very nasty slap in the face for us, because Montreal has always been a very, very supportive place for Rush. We always, anytime they came to Montreal, shows were always sold out. People love Rush here. So if they would not come to Montreal, that would be very, very disappointing. Hopefully they'll add Montreal in at some point. So I wanted to know what your thoughts are on this. Do you think this is a one-off? Do you think it's just like a final hurrah, and they're just doing it for fun? Do you think maybe we're going to get some new Rush music out of this? Do you think they should maybe not have come out of retirement? Just let it be and end the story. I want to hear your comments. There's a poll question, and we're going to look at some of the poll question comments in a little while here. But I'm wondering what you guys think. Maybe you guys don't even care. I mean, not everybody's a Rush fan. I get it. Steven says, I saw them in 80 and 82, sounded great. I saw them more recently. And yeah, they sounded awesome. Really good show. They focused, in that show that I was at, they focused mostly on all of the great, Rush hits. They weren't just playing fillers that were playing on the radio and were not that popular. It was all the classics. So it was really great. Vinny says, not really well versed on Rush, but is this a reunion like the Pantera thing where they're just playing old songs, or are they planning to write new material? That's the $1,000,000 question, Vinny. We don't really know at this point. We don't really know. I have a feeling, a gut feeling, that if things go well on this tour, they might actually maybe stick around a little bit and maybe put out some new music. I don't know. We will have to wait and see, I guess. Shane says John Bonham also didn't do interviews. That's right. That's what I like about him. Stayed out of the spotlight. Concentrate on playing drums. Leave the rest of the superstardom stuff to someone else. I always feel like when somebody shuns the spotlight, shuns interviews and that kind of stuff, it makes them more elusive. You pay more attention when they do actually put out a video or something like that. D. Smith says Rush, Bob and Doug McKenzie, and the Blue Jays. It's a return of the Great White North. Just no Anne Murray. I don't know how many people out there know Bob and Doug McKenzie if you're from the States. That's you got to be a certain age and probably Canadian to know who we're talking about there. Bonzo was a heavy drinker like Moon. Yeah, back in the day, I think a lot of them were heavy drinkers. Warheart says they're one fall or heart attack away from canceling anyway. That's a positive way to look at things. I don't know, man. I think they're probably in better shape than most. We've seen a lot of people kind of getting sick lately, and getting Vince Neil apparently had some kind of a stroke. He wasn't doing well, but he didn't look well at all. I mean, a lot of crazy days, partying and all that kind of stuff definitely didn't help him. Gene Simmons recently also apparently passed out or something when he was driving his car. And I think they're saying it was due to like medication and dehydration or something like that. So that wasn't good. And there was someone else. Who else had an issue recently? It's slipping my mind, but some other older musician also had issues. So, it's getting harder to at a certain age. Dan says $400 plus for Rush tickets. Dan, yeah, I expect them to be around that price. Look, recently we had Bryan Adams come to town here. Some friends of mine went to see the show. Tickets were $400. I'd rather spend $400 to see Rush. But apparently they loved the show. Apparently he did a great job. And apparently he fired the bass player because he's now playing bass and singing at the same time, which I didn't even know he knew how to do. But apparently he had no issues singing and playing bass at the same time. Shane says today in Hockey Night in Canada, every time they cut to commercial, a Rush song plays. I'm not a huge hockey fan, Shane. I know that's sacrilege. If you're Canadian, you should be, probably like automatically a hockey fan. But I watch hockey now and then, but I'm not a huge hockey fan. So I wouldn't really know. Yes, that. Oh, yeah. Thanks for reminding me, man. That's who I wanted to mention. Yeah, Ken Parker. Yeah, Ken Parker passed away. Man, poor guy. October 5th. He's the creator of the pretty flamboyant Parker Fly guitars. You guys know those guitars? Very odd shaped guitar, but some people love them. Some people think they're great. They just play fantastic. I never tried one, but I knew he was ill. I think at one point they had started a GoFundMe for him. I guess he had some sort of cancer or something like that. And not even, I think the day after, I think I saw the announcement that he passed away. So yeah, that's pretty sad as well. I don't know if anybody here owns one of those Parker Fly guitars. Dolly Parton, yeah, Martian. Dolly Parton's sick too, apparently, but we don't know how seriously. He's Freely, yeah, 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 yeah. Hey, Profile, nice to see you, dude. Thank you for joining us. All good. Never mind if you're late. It's all good. As long as you're here, that's what counts. So yeah, man, I don't know. Anyways, I'm not going to start talking about everybody that's sick and getting old. We'll concentrate on the music that's happening today and all the good stuff as well. I wanted to ask you guys a question, by the way, because I was playing this guitar earlier. So you guys heard this one, I guess. So I was playing this one earlier, this guy, and I wanted to ask you a question. So let me just do the switch without necessarily dropping anything here. Not easy to do. There we go. Put that there. Grab this guy. Oh yeah. So my question was, because I was thinking about that when I was playing it, I need your opinion. I never actually put in the cigarette burns on the headstock, because Eddie does have the cigarette burns. I don't smoke. And I always thought like, why put cigarette burns on the guitar? This is a guitar I made, by the way. And so I wanted to know, do you think it would look better with the cigarette burns? And I also never put in the reflectors on the back. Eddie has sort of like truck reflectors on the back of the guitar that he flashes to the audience on the when the spotlight's on him. I have all the reflectors. I just never put them on. So I'm just wondering what you guys think. Should I? Shouldn't I? I need your advice. It's just not because it'll change anything sound-wise. It's just because I'm getting bored. I want to do something. And I figured, why not? Why not modify the guitar? So give me your votes, guys. On, off with the reflectors. And what do you think about the actual cigarette burns? No cigarette burns? All right, so let's see here. We got. So Vinny says the neck does look a bit too new for the relict body. Yeah, you're right. It's you can't really tell. It has a little crud on the fretboard, but yeah, maybe it's just a little bit too new. Charles says your guitar, your choice. Well, this is why I need your advice, Charles. I can't make up my mind. I need to know. I don't know. I don't really need to do it. Shane says no burns, smoking is evil. Richard says cigarette burns make the tone. And David says cigarette makes everything better. I miss smoking. It's good that you don't smoke, David. It's good. Keep that up, man. MFN says no cigarette burns. Presley says, is it possible to create the burns with a crack pipe? I don't know. You tell me, man. Eddie says, yes, cigarette burns and a Kramer logo. Well, actually, Eddie didn't have a Kramer logo on his Frankenstrat. At one point, he had a Gibson decal, if you remember that. And Wayne says, light that thing on fire, Tony, and get it reflecting. Shane says, try carpet burns. Ooh, Shane, you kinky guy, you. And Vinny's World says, yes, to cigarette burns, but probably needs something on the fretboard for balance. Okay, I see what you mean. Richard says, seriously, no cigarette burns, but I like the reflectors. Okay, maybe I'll do that. All right, let me think about that. You guys are, you're not decided yourselves. I'm not getting a clear yes or no here. So I guess it's up to me. I'll have to flip a coin or something. I didn't put the reflectors on the back because I figured they would feel funny. When you're sitting with your guitar on your, when it rubs against your ribs. So, but I'll see. By the way, if you're wondering, I am playing through my FM9 today, and the reason for that is because they actually just came out with a firmware release for it, version 10. And they added something really cool that I almost bought one of these, and now maybe I don't have to buy it. They added the Supro Black Magic amp model. And at a certain point, I was almost about to pull the trigger. I couldn't find one in a combo. I saw a lot of head versions and cabinets, but not the combo. Actually, they put them in. They put it into this update, and I was playing around with it a little earlier. It does sound cool, very different. They also added the Angry Chuck drive pedal, which is basically the GHS Angry Charlie. So I got to try that. And they also added the Guardian Photon Speed, which is a drive pedal model based on the Greer Lightspeed. I don't know if you guys know that one. And they also added the Paradigm Shifter, which is another drive model. So there's a few things in there that I'm itching to try. And so what I did was, so I'll just show you guys, if you guys are interested in seeing this. Maybe some of you are not, but too bad, it's my show. Just kidding. So this is what I'm playing right now. I have the Matchbox Chiefman, which is basically a matchless amp. So I have the amp here, and I got a cabinet right here. I'm not playing through any drive, so what you're hearing in terms of drive is actually the amp model. And if I go here, let me just show you guys. So if I go to the amp model and I go to the tone stack here, you can see the gain is at about 3. We have bass, mid, treble, high cut, master volume. So that's the amp. So I'm just going to show you something here. I actually just turned off the amp because I clicked it. So that's the amp and the cab. So now what I'll do is I'll turn off that amp, turn off that cab, and I'll turn on the Black Magic amp and cab and let you hear that. Very different sound. So the thing is, with this particular amp, I was playing it with a 2x12 Super 6G4 cabinet, which is not really the type of speaker they use in that particular model. They usually use a 12-inch speaker. So I wasn't sure what to use. And I was looking here for a 12 that might fit the bill. I figured maybe the car might be a good option, but I'm not that familiar with what type of speakers are. That's the car, and I think it works really well when the drive is on. So I turn on a drive here. So that's the Tone of King drive pedal, which is kind of the Tone King version. So it's interesting. I like it. I haven't really played around with the tone stack that much on the amp here. I just put on the bright switch. The boost is on there. The gain is at 6. It's a fun little amp to play with. So I always like when they have updates on these units, because it's like Christmas all over again. You know, you get to enjoy a new toy without having to spend a dime, which is cool. Daniel says, guitar back subject reminds me of tone guards to isolate back from the player's body. Ever try one? I'm not sure what you mean by that, Danielle. Tone guards? Are you talking about the like the film, so that your guitar doesn't get buckle rash? Is that what you mean? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Rich says cigarette burns and the quarter. Yeah, the quarter's there, man. I got the quarter. It's right there. You have to have that 1971 quarter right there. And it does move, just like Eddie, used to shove it underneath the Floyd to kind of like hardtail it. It does it. I made sure it was a 71. That's where the tone is. NFM, you got a split? Well, thank you for dropping in. Yeah, be sure to listen to the rest of the show. Very cool. Thank you, man. The Supro has that nice growl. Yeah, I think if you play that with a nice bitey Gibson pickup, like this one has some bite too, you can definitely get that Jimmy Page snarl if you use the right drive pedal. This one, the King of Tone, maybe is not the best choice for it, but you can probably get some nice Led Zeppelin sounds out of it. Yeah, I remember that, Richard. You must be an Eddie Van Halen fan if you know that detail. He didn't use it for very long. For those of you that don't know, Eddie used to have this thing. It was like, I think it was made of wood or something. And he would flip his guitar up this way, and it would like rest on his body, so he can actually play the guitar kind of like a piano. It was like this, but it didn't last that long. Eddie was pretty cool. He was like the Albert Einstein of guitar inventions. He wasn't afraid to try new things. That's why I liked him so much. Okay, so you're talking about like actual tone guards. It isolates the back from the body so that the back vibrations are not absorbed by the body of the player's body. I don't know about that. I don't play a mandolin, so that's interesting. So I guess it's so that the body doesn't dampen the vibrations of the guitar. I guess the guitar projects better that way. Interesting. See, I learned something new again today. You guys, man, you impress me. You definitely impress me. Always something to learn. Richard says, yeah, me and Eddie go way back. Not that he realized, but I've been a fan for a long time. Same here, man. Same here. Dave says in '84, Brian May and Edward connected to make the worst album of their careers. Which album is that? I don't know if you guys also heard the news recently. I was actually a little surprised by this. Um, Basically, you guys obviously probably heard about the Clon Centaur lawsuit against Behringer. So Bill Finnegan had sued Behringer over the clone that they came out with. That was like $69, and there was a lot of hype around that. If you guys remember, well, it's interesting because apparently the lawsuit has been dismissed. And I was actually surprised. I didn't think that would happen. But apparently, in a court filing dated the 29th of September, Finnegan dismissed the lawsuit without cost to either party, bringing an end to his month-long dispute with Behringer. The lawsuit was dismissed with prejudice, meaning that it can't be picked up again and pursued at a later date. So it's interesting. It's interesting to hear this. It means that Finnegan can never sue Behringer over this again. Now I'm wondering if Behringer gave Finnegan a boatload of money to make it go away. And Finnegan's like, yeah, sure, no problem. I'm good with that. But that's what happened. So apparently they can keep on selling those clones. And apparently they did change the name. Changed the name slightly. I think what ended up happening was they renamed it from Centaur to Zentara. C to Z. And the graphic was changed from a centaur with a I don't know, something holding in his hand to a sword or something like that. Just slightly different. And apparently that's enough. What a farce. It's kind of silly if you think about it. I don't know if that's like, I don't know what's happening with cooking behind the scenes, but to me that seems like really strange, really odd. Why would you bring someone to court and then just let it be? So somebody got paid off, I think. Just scrolling back here. Jean-Pierre says we lost John Lodge this week, bass player of the Moody Blues. I heard that. Yeah. Another fallen musician. D. Smith says, as far as the Klon, the cork sniffers will still spend the money. Sort of a silly lawsuit. It is a silly lawsuit. And yeah, I agree. There's still going to be cork sniffers out there that don't mind spending the money. Interesting, though. I didn't think it was going to go that way. Interesting to hear. All right. So what else do we have on the agenda for today, gentlemen? We mentioned poor Gene Simmons. We talked about Ace Frehley and his dilemma with his health right now, and Motley Crue and Vince Neil and all that stuff. Oh, one thing I wanted to mention, I saw a really cool video this week. And I was paying attention to it because lately I've been seeing a lot of Marcus King. I don't know if you guys know who this is, but Marcus is an up and coming blues musician that is really making some waves and in the world of blues with his voice and his playing. He's really has a very unique voice, very unique style, very unique persona in general, but he plays really, really well as well. And I saw that he recently played an Albert King cover with Joe Bonamassa, and I caught the video on YouTube. And I thought that was very big of Joe to let Marcus sort of shine like that on stage, because he was playing really well. I would say almost as good, on par, at least, with Joe. And that's not always easy to do when you're a musician, to have somebody on stage with you that is kind of stealing the spotlight. My opinion, Marcus is definitely a better singer than Joe. And like I said, pretty much on par with the playing. So if you guys haven't seen that video, check it out and let me know what you think. But Marcus is really cool, and I'm keeping my eye on him because I think that we're going to be hearing a lot of this guy. Six String says Heritage just released the H150 Standard 2 with 60s neck, but they want an extra $600 over the price of the 50s version. Will they come down in price? Good question. I don't think so. I don't think so. A lot of us are wondering that about a lot of other guitars as well. We don't see the prices come down all that often. So I would doubt that they would come down. It's your call, man. If you're itching to buy that guitar right now and you're wondering whether you should snag it right away, it doesn't hurt to wait. It doesn't hurt to sleep on it for a minute or two, but I don't think they're going to come down. That's just me. And speaking of Joe, just one other thing I wanted to mention regarding Joe. He also put out a set of signature pickups. Apparently that these pickups are inspired by his Bolan Burst. This is a Les Paul he acquired under kind of very unique circumstances. It was once played by Tommy Bolan. And apparently they've been recreated in minute detail. And you can buy them if you want them. Now they're, I don't know, I believe they're probably going to be not cheap. I think they're about $375 US per set, which is not like overkill. I mean, they're in the ballpark there. And apparently each bottom plate is signed by Joe and Seymour Duncan. And I think they're a limited run. So if you want them, you're going to have to get them soon, I think, because I don't think they're going to be available for that long. They do feature Alnico 2 magnets. And from what I heard, they sound very nice. And I like the aging on them as well. All right. Should we take a look at the poll question, guys? Let's do that right now before time keeps on ticking into the future, to quote a very famous song. Let me go to my post here on my channel. If you guys don't know where it is, Addicted to Gear, go to the channel, and then it's usually in the community tab. Sometimes it gets a little hard to find. I don't know. YouTube moves things around sometimes. If you go under posts, usually you'll see it. Hey, Dominic, what's happening? Dave's giving us some advice. He says, remember, kids, don't shoot heroin in Miami when you have outstanding drug debts. Take it easy, Presley. Paul's also giving us some advice on a pedal of the week. Heartwood pedals, Santa Fe, a very good fuzz face clone, $35 USD. Once again, Paul, I'm wondering, like, if I order this thing, I pay this thing $35. Am I gonna have to pay like $60 in tariffs? I don't know, man. It's crazy stuff. Gene, the Dragon Telecaster project is on hold till winter. Like as I mentioned last time, that's a winter project. It's gonna start soon though. And when it does, I promise I will post the progress here for you guys. You keep on asking me, Gene. I know you're itching to know what's going on, but it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Won't be long. Okay, so the poll question here, we got about 100 votes on it. Let's look at the results, shall we? So the question was, the buzz around the Rush reunion is going wild. What's your take? The options were bring on the new drummer and the new era. Number 2 was only if it's a true Neil Peart tribute. Number 3 was just give us one final tour. And number 4 was leave the legacy untouched. So out of 100 people, I'll start with the most popular. Actually, let's start with the least popular. Least popular, 5% of you said only if it's a true Neil Peart tribute. So people are looking, I guess, for closure, and they want to have that tribute to Neil, which I guess never really happened, which I understand. I think that's something that people would want. I have a feeling that they're gonna probably weave that in somehow. I wouldn't see them not giving tribute where tribute is deserved. I'm pretty sure they would do that. So 5% of you said that. 8% of you said just give us one final tour, which might actually be the case. We don't know. It might actually be the case where you get only one final tour and that's it. There's no guarantees that they're going to stick together once this is done. 23% of you said leave the legacy untouched. And I understand that as well. If you're a big fan and you came to grips with the fact that the band was no longer, and maybe you don't want to be teased. Maybe it's too painful for you to be teased with something new and just to have it go away again. 23% of you said that. Now, 64% of you said bring on the new drummer and the new era. So I guess most of you out there are ready for more Rush. And I get that as well. And 64% of you is an overwhelming majority. And I think a lot of you are wanting to hear more Rush and, didn't want Rush to disappear so quick. So I get that. And I appreciate your votes. There were a couple of comments, and I'll just read them. Somebody says, love to see them again. Always a great concert. Someone else says, progressive rock, keep progressing. Kind of excited to see what they do. Also got a keyboard player to free up Getty, which I mentioned. That's right. Paul says, I'm impressed with the new drummer. It's not a guest by an actual full-time member of the... Sorry, it's not an actual guest, but an actual full-time member of the band. I think I would not be surprised if they wrote and recorded some new tunes. I agree with you, Paul. I have a feeling that's probably where it may go. And then, of course, we get somebody who says, take off, eh? Don't think they can ever surpass seeing them in 81, 82, even if you are a super fan. Hey, man, look, the old days when they were in their prime are gone. This is the new era. This is, as they're getting old, it's It's like enjoying a fine wine. It's not going to be the same, but you know, you can still enjoy it. Um, and then somebody else says they should enjoy retirement even though there's no more money. So you think they're doing it only for the money, huh? There's a couple of responses to that comment. Somebody says they have plenty of money. I don't think they do. That's why they're going on tour again. And then Alex and Getty are comfortable, can comfortably live off the publishing rights to their music. They're fine. They're musicians and they love performing. That's it. Stop being so cynical. So this is becoming a little bit of a piss fight. And somebody says, by the way, I just looked it up. Alex has a net worth of $40 million and Getty's over 50 million. They're quite wealthy. So I don't think that's probably the issue, but it's funny to hear those comments as well. Silver Bushman says, anybody have a recommendation what tremolo to replace the Mexican tremolo? And a lot of people here have already responded. Vega Trem, I agree. I concur. Vega Trem would be a good choice. A little expensive, but if you have the budget for it, I don't think you can do that much better. So go with the Vega Trem. It does perform very, very well. I put Vega Trem on 2 of my guitars, and I love them. I love it. It just works really, really great. David says, treat it like Queen does Adam Lambert. Tour, but avoid new music. Neil wrote most of the lyrics. He changed in words, phrasing, and vibe could be rather drastic. That is true. He was sort of the person behind the scenes penning most of the lyrics, which is gone. I agree with you, Dave. I agree. I would say just play the music. Play the music. D. Smith says, no listening to Stairway Backwards while working on the Dragon Telecaster project. I'll try to remember that. All right, guys. I think that's it for today. We're going to be wrapping it up. I'm over the 1 hour mark by about 22 minutes. I appreciate you guys tuning in again today. As I mentioned, if you have any videos that I should be paying attention to because you want to be a guest on the show, please let me know. I'm going to be checking out Vinny's World's video on that as well. And tune in when we have our special guests. We're going to aim for the 26th, I think it is. And it should be a lot of fun. I'm sure we'll have a few laughs along the way. And that's it for now, guys. If you haven't watched my video on Rush, take a look at it, as well as the other gear reviews I put out there about a week ago. There's more on the way, including this guy. This is something that I've been playing with. This is the Amp Academy Stomp by NuX, which I should be able to demo for you guys shortly if you guys are interested in taking a look at that. All right. Thank you so much, guys. Please hit the thumbs up button on the way out. I would appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll be back. Just have a great week and stay out of trouble. Talk to you guys soon.